Good morning and welcome to Speak on Stage TV. I'm Dave Crane and I'm left without my daughter today. And so you're saying, but Dave, she was the best thing about your show. I know, that's why she's not coming back. If you missed it, and it's worth watching, yesterday our show was all about it was all about empowerment and why women make better leaders, and I got a little bit of feedback on it. Some people saying that's not fair about men. Well, it's just the truth. I'm not saying all men aren't great leaders. I'm not saying all women are great leaders. I'm just saying that the skill sets of being a woman tend to make people more effective. And the pandemic has shown that. Now, I mentioned about Kamala Harris, and I feel a sense of pride about Kamala Harris, and it's not about the politics. Why is that? Why would I have my daughter on a show all about Kamala Harris? Let me explain to you. My daughter, for the first time, will see a woman on TV in power, whether she gets elected or not, and say, there's a direct line between me and somebody who's made it. It's a role model. Now that might sound like, oh yeah, whatever, Oprah Winfrey, but no, it's a different thing. She's a different generation. Oprah Winfrey has had her time during my generation. Not saying she's gone or disappeared from the market at all. That's what I'm not saying. But her generation, my daughter, who's 9 years old, doesn't watch TV. Being a big star on TV makes no interest. Being a YouTube star is where she lives. So she'd never know Oprah Winfrey, but she does see news and she does know what Daddy talks about. So why is it important to see people of color in that situation? Couple of reasons. First of all, and you may say, Dave, come on, this is not fair. We've got a lot of white friends, and I'm not saying about white people. I love white people. I love all colors of people. I love all nationalities, all races, all genders, all sexual preferences. I'm not saying about that. I'm saying about aspirations. One of the most important things that happened to me in my entire lifetime was to see that Barack Obama was elected president of the US. And it wasn't because of his politics. I don't live in the US. I know it has a knock on effect. But the very fact that you saw a black man in charge of so many elements made it possible for me to aspire to higher, to be better. It also showed a load of people who thought you can only get there when you're a certain type of person to turn around and say, oh, well, maybe if you got a black guy there could be other black guys that could elevate to that kind of position in our own organization. It was trailblazing. That's why I have an interest in Kamala Harris's success. Not because of her politics, though that may have elements in it, but not. This is completely politic free. The show, my speaking always has been. With that being said, welcome to the show. I just felt it was important to share it with you. Many of you may feel the same way, in which case, fantastic. If you don't feel the same way, that's fine. I'm not expecting you to. I'm just expecting you to appreciate that I have a different way of looking at life. And hopefully, if it's not the way that you look at it, but you enjoy the show, then it covers enough for you. So you'll be happy, we'll be happy, and we'll just be lifelong friends. Isn't that perfect? So, what's today's show all about? It's about a lot of different things. Not least the fact that when we're talking about success levels and we're talking about how to make things happen, today is about how to become a virtual speaker. I'm going to give you a crash course on the areas that you should be concentrating on if you're a speaker. If you're not already a speaker, then now's the time to become one. If you are a speaker and you're going, where do I go next? This show will help you illustrate it, because previously speakers didn't have to think about stuff like that at all. So, as always, we're broadcasting live across LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Periscope into Twitter, and YouTube. So, if you're not already subscribed or following or friends or connected or whatever the different title is per platform, make sure that you are, so you get alerts whenever these shows go out. And when you comment, I love your comments and I always reply, as you know. Please say where you're from. Just say, because that means that we can see how international we're getting, and I can tweak it and change it and add bits, including time zones when we broadcast, to make sure that I can look after you. So if you're in the middle of the night and you go, Dave, please just start earlier, then, well, I can't start that much earlier, but I can certainly accommodate where you want to be with all this. At the moment, we're broadcasting round about 10:30 to 11 o'clock normally on a weekday, but there's going into weekends as well. That's in the UAE. In UK, it's breakfast time. In the US, it's not a pig noise, it's a snore. Apparently, I snore. Who could have figured? And if you're in subcontinent, India, Pakistan, and so on, it's mid-afternoon. If you're in Australia and you're down under, I can't even do the accent, so I'm just going to stay British, then it's going to be early evening and evening time when you get to have this. Everybody's welcome. I really honour your thoughts, your comments. Having you with me is a complete pleasure, and I wouldn't want to have it any other way. So I've been talking about speakers. I train people to become speakers. I've travelled around the world as a speaker now for about 30 plus years, speaking internationally, doing hypnosis shows, being a DJ, a number of different things, training companies, working with high-end events, sporting events, world-leading premium events, everything. And the whole experience has been fantastic because when you do that, you get to understand what makes people tick. And the first thing you understand, especially if you're based in Dubai, is do not think that the rest of the world is the same as you. It's not. The rest of the world is different. But one thing that Dubai has given me is the opportunity to understand what makes the rest of the world tick and work with the sneeze. Now, if you're wondering why I snows, is that a word? It is now. The reason I was sneezing is because I've got my air conditioning right in front of me here. And I was hoping I could keep talking and press a button that would start one of our trailers going, or one of our stings, and then sneeze during that time. I can't, but I can press a button. Welcome to Speak on Stage. So the biggest challenge for many people is how do I become a speaker and how to become a virtual speaker. If you may have noticed, you might not have, what today's show is all about. Here is the home screen that everybody arrives at. How to be a virtual speaker, which I think is fascinating. For most people who have no idea about becoming a speaker, it's the quickest way to communicate and market your brand, your business to people who might be interested in working with you. If you're really intent on sharing some ideas that can help people change their lives, then this is really important and powerful for them as well, because they'll get to understand where you're coming from faster than they would do with almost any other form of communication. The better you are at speaking, the easier it is to get your ideas through your mouth to people in a live audience, the easier they'll absorb and work with you. But that was the easy way of doing it, because you could see an audience in front of you. And if you could overcome your fear of public speaking, I'll stop this music because I love it too much, but too much of a good thing? Yeah, I know. So if you could communicate what you wanted in front of a live audience, that's great. But some people had a fear of public speaking. 90% of people have a fear of public speaking. And so it became even more challenging. Great for me. I train people to get over that fear and become great speakers. But now we've got an extra obstacle, which is not only to have to get over a fear of public speaking, but what if you can't see the audience in front of you? Audience instances. Just have some more coffee. Captain Marvel. Oof. Feeling better already. I've got to work out, by the way, which is going to be my weekend. When do you want me not to broadcast? Let me know. Which days do you go, right, I'm not touching a computer, it's my time off? Because there's no point me broadcasting during that time. I'm going 7 days a week to test this, but I don't want to broadcast 7 days a week if I can avoid it, because then I'll end up getting divorced in a lockdown. And if you get divorced in a lockdown, all it means is one room in the house you can go to, but you can't leave unless you want to go to the bathroom. So my wife has been very clear about it. I'll support you, but do you really want to go out every day? That's very subtle. That's very subtle. Let me explain the differences in subtlety between men and women. Supposing I'm driving in the car from Dubai to Abu Dhabi. So it's about an hour and a half, something like that, in the days before the lockdown, when you could drive back and forth without any stops, quarantine. So I'm driving along, and my wife will say to me, would you like a coffee? And I'll go, no, we can be there in about 20 minutes. Okay. That's me driving. It's not me running or punching or milking a cow. It's driving. Okay. So then the car goes really cold. And it's not the air conditioning. It's the same sort of cold that when you go, there's mist comes out. You know the Sixth Sense? When dead people, it's like that. So I'm going, driving a car. I shouldn't drive it like that. I should drive it like that. To go like that, I'm going like this in the road. Okay. So I'm driving down the car and I'm going, What's the matter? Something's gone wrong. I'm not dropping the car over. It's not playing. Can I not? Can I just put my steering wheel down? I'm not in a car. So I say to her. In fact, I feel better like this. I say to her, what was the matter? And she was like this. I say, I don't understand what happened. You know I wanted a coffee. I said, but you didn't ask that. You said, do I want to stop for a coffee? And I said, well, no, because we're almost there. She said, you know what I mean. So then I go, okay, well, it's a great idea. If we go, there's a place on the left here, which is coming up in 5 minutes, a petrol station. We get some coffee. Great idea, yeah. Because well, don't do that. I'm holding the steering wheel. Like aerobics, or maybe I go like that. I could do with a coffee. I'm losing the plot here. I'm losing the reason for talking about it. And then she says to me, I don't want one anymore. Now that communication, I don't even know why I started the story. In my head, it was worth sharing, but now it's kind of gone. But what I can tell you is when it comes to speaking, there are loads of different platforms that people have to understand. The challenge isn't now about speaking, communicating effectively. It's about speaking, communicating effectively through a screen. Creating either a broadcast like this or going completely virtual. And you're saying, what does going completely virtual mean? I will show you in the next couple of episodes, this week and next week, exactly what the range of speaking abilities are and how you need to learn skills that maybe you hadn't ever learned before. But if you're just wondering what kind of thing I'm talking about, have a look at this. I love your comments. I love your greetings. It's always a pleasure having you with me. This is me doing a virtual gig. Thank you so much. Now, in a moment, I'm going to be able to go through all my slides. As you've probably guessed by now, my name is Dave Crane. But before I do anything, normally what I do to warm up an audience is I get everyone to just clap. And that's going to seem really weird here because your avatars will clap. But let's do that. On the count of 3, everybody give yourselves a round of applause for being in this room and being here right now. Give yourselves a round of applause. Clap now. Go on, let's see how you do it. Everybody. That means clapping on the button. Very good indeed. See, we've got an atmosphere in cyberspace. This is brilliant. Fantastic. Okay, then you press the button to stop doing that now. Now, it's a real pleasure to be sharing stuff. This, as you can see on the screen, that's the real me. That's what I look like normally. Now, the avatar that I've created, you can stop clapping now, press the button again, and it stops clapping. And you can sit down. There you go. The avatar that I've created fulfills my wish of being a combination of Lara Croft and also doing gigs all around the world. So what I decided to do was dress my particular character in black, which meant I had the added advantage that you couldn't see how much weight I put on during the lockdown, and I do blame M&Ms and pizza for most of that. Alright, so you can stop clapping now. I should never have started. Everybody who's sitting tight and thinking it's all going to snap back to the way it was before is deluding themselves. You've been an amazing crowd, an amazing audience, and it's just been an honour to really share this classic moment with you. Thank you so much. My name is Dave Crane. You've been amazing, and I wish you all the very best for the future. Now, hopefully you found that fascinating. That was me, an avatar version of me on stage, where I was controlling with my laptop how I move forward, how I move back. That screen you saw in front of me was literally my presentation preloaded, available for me there to be able to go backwards and forwards, play video, pause it, speak over it, and you saw a combination of the view I had and the view that everybody had around me. That event was for a big IT company, and they had about 500 members of their staff in the audience, each individual avatars who were moving around in front of me, doing all sorts of things, because everybody's really enjoying it and playing with the content and playing with the gadget of them. And so I've got to somehow speak and deliver content. And as you're doing it, and that was a great presentation, by the way, it's great working with the guys from Vertway, so that's their platform. As you're doing it, you it was like playing a game, speaking, and doing it in front of a load of drunken toddlers. Not that kids should ever be drunk, but because everyone was playing their characters, they're moving around all the time. So I'm not sure if they're coming up to me and waving to say, stop, 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 we need to talk to you, or coming up and waving because they've just discovered the wave button. So this is at the very beginning of a technology. There are lots of different platforms. I'll be connecting and sharing a ton of content with you from each of the different platforms of the coming episodes so you can see the choices as a speaker. But what I want to do as a speaker as well, now I'm actually in that world, is connect you with a load of different ideas. For many people, they'll be wondering, how can I do this? Where do I go? Because right now, even doing a TV show like this, for many people is a huge undertaking and a massive challenge, which, to be honest with you, it should be. Do you remember when LinkedIn first introduced Live and Facebook introduced Live and YouTube? Most people, the idea of Live is having their screen like this and talking, hi, here I am, I'm in my bathroom. Or maybe not in the bathroom, but that's probably where they get bored long enough to do it. Probably don't get reception. Here I am at home and I'd like to share with you blah, 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 blah. Look at me, I'm great. Well, hey. And it works really well if you're female. If you're a guy, you just get to see up people's nose hairs. But females look better generally like that. It's impossible to edit. You need to go like that. But the point is, some people are good at it. Some people overstay their welcome. But it's so low tech. I wouldn't do that. I refused to. I started at the beginning and realized that so many people are doing it, and it was just such rubbish use of a technology. I prefer to do something a little bit more sophisticated, so I waited until I could learn how to broadcast like this. So if you're a speaker and you're a little bit frustrated, let me give you a tiny crash course in what you need to be considering as a speaker to be more effective. So there's 4 things you need to do to survive a crisis as a public speaker, because right now, everybody who's to earn from going on a stage to a corporate event or driving sales through being in front of a live audience is going on terrible webinars, doing a broadcast that nobody pays attention to, or they stay there if they really, really have nothing on Netflix, but also people can leave just like that. I happen to know that when people will start watching the show, most people stay to the end. How do I know that? Because they say goodbye at the end. They're still around, I can see the numbers. So you've got to create something that's engaging and worth people's while. Don't overstay your welcome. So here's a couple of things I'd like to share with you about becoming more effective and going through the crisis as a public speaker. 4 things you need to do. First one is this: start booking events for later this year and early next year, maybe even later next year too. This is not going to go away fast. And you've also got the fact that, okay, you can go online or you can go live, and you can go to an audience that's in front of you. Doesn't mean that your audience wants to go to social distancing. It also means that just like with planes, which right now there are planes flying, but with social distancing, they have to take people about 1 every 3 seats, but they still have to make their money. So your seat has gone up about 1/3. Sorry, it's gone up about 3 times the price. So if it's normally $1, sorry, $1, who flies for $1? It's $1 to get from here to here. Well, hey, here's your money. I'll go twice. Well, hey. No, if it's normally $1,000 to travel to a different country, say, then it's going to cost you $3,000 on many airlines to do the same thing because they've got to cover their costs. So the same is true for when you go into a live event. If you've got a venue and you've got like an audience that has to be socially distanced, then they have to maybe charge more per ticket, or what they're more like to do, and events managers and agencies, you know who I'm talking about, you'll try and drop the fee of the speaker saying all our things aren't covered. And what that really means in actual event terms is we are not making as much profit as we want to, so we're going to take it from you like that. Isn't that horrible? When somebody goes like that towards the screen, I kind of like it. So that's what it comes down to. So ultimately, to become a more effective speaker, start booking your events. If you can do, connecting with the events managers and seeing what their plans are, but looking at a later schedule. Don't fight the battleground now, but you do need to fill the gaps now because you need to eat. So let's give you a couple more things that you need to do as a speaker. First of all, as I mentioned, you saw that video there, going to speak at virtual events is very important. The more that you can be seen, the more that you can go out there, get practice, prove to people, I'm already good on this platform. Nobody wants to take a risk on somebody who crashes, or their laptop crashes or freezes, or their internet cable isn't strong enough, or they don't know what they're doing, or the PowerPoint isn't good, and their avatar or their way of doing it isn't very good. Most people are doing Zoom, and I will do a future session based on how Zoom can be more effective for you. Let's take, for instance, right now I have a camera. This is, if you look at me right now, I will show you where my laptop camera is. Here. There is my laptop camera. Here is the camera I'm looking into, which is a webcam, which is raised quite some distance ahead. Why is that important? Well, a couple of reasons. First of all, by having it like that, I get less reflection off my glasses. Otherwise, it just becomes like this. For you, not for me. I can see. My glasses aren't quite that thick. And I can go like this, in which case I know I look hot, but I can't see anything. But having it like this is better. Now, many people you'll see when you're doing a Zoom call, they have computers where their camera is down at the bottom of the laptop. So that means that you're looking up their nose like that all the way through, and that's kind of gross. It's almost forgivable, almost at the beginning of quarantine for people to not know this. But if you're a proper speaker and you're going out and you're speaking on Zoom or you're speaking at some kind of virtual conference that has your screen live, if you are looking at a screen that's looking up your nose, it's unforgivable. You just should not be there. And this is true for many people unless they've been briefed. So I'm telling you now on this. So speak at virtual events, whether it's Zoom, webinars, whatever, get yourself out there, because the important thing is to be seen. Now here we are. Teach an online course. Have you considered that? Your skills that you would normally get to an audience live, why not create it as an online course? Make it digital. Get passive earning. So therefore, you need to create a brand and let people go and learn about it. What do? I teach people to speak on stage. What's my brand? What's my online course? Speak on stage. Wherever people are in the world, they can learn to do exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm in a process of creating now digital stagecraft, which I'll be recording later on today. And that will be available for people to learn all the stuff you need to do from A to Z about becoming a virtual speaker, how to work your audience when you can't see them, how to get the right equipment to make it work, how to create presentations, how to get over the fear of public speaking, how to get things to work when they crash. All those things are covered with digital stagecraft. And how can I do that? Because I'm creating relationships with people and creating an online course to work my existing clients so I can improve what they do, save time and leverage who I am. Otherwise, you're selling your time. The idea is if you've got an online course, you're leveraging, and it works for everybody. You don't just have to be a speaker. This works whether you're a tutor, whether you train people to do French, a plumber, engineer. You can create courses all about this stuff, how to fix your car, how to improve your internet if you're at home and you don't know how to set it up properly, how to boost your internet with your laptop by doing these simple things. It might be worth $10 for somebody to buy it, but you get 1,000 people paying $10 for your crash course on how to set it up. Then that's not laughable. Then that's kind of worth the 15 to 20 minutes it took to actually speak. True? Okay, so the last thing I want to share with you after teaching an online course is this thing. Boost your brand. Get yourself out there. Get people to know who you are and what you do. If they don't know who you are, then that might be fine when you're a speaker on a normal circuit, because not everybody has to know you, just the events organizers and the people who are going to book you. But right now, just like it was difficult to get your page on your website on the first page of Google before, it's so much harder now because everybody's doing it. If you're not thinking about the location anymore, because everyone's online, how much harder is it? If you were the number one top dog at doing your thing in your town and everybody knew it, and you didn't have to try that hard because people just knew it, as soon as you start looking at a global opportunity like a virtual speaker, you're not even on the clock. You don't even exist for most people. And do you know that there's enough gigs going on in your town to keep you busy? You already know that there's not. Because most people can't get their head around, are we going to have an event this year or not? Right now, we're in the middle of a summer, which is challenging for many people. It's challenging in almost every business in the middle of a pandemic. But the summer will lead to September, and in the events business, that means that things start up again. So you need to make sure by that time you've got your act together. So those are the 4 things I would recommend that you consider doing right now to evolve yourself into a virtual speaker. In a few moments' time, I'll be sharing with you a few tips, tools, and techniques that will really help you to raise your game if you're thinking about starting something and reaching people right now. I love your comments. I love your thoughts. As always, it's superb to know that you're there with me. And also let me know which day you want me to take off, or which 2 days you want me to take off, or which day you prefer for me to not broadcast. And if you say every single day, Dave, we hate you, I'll do all 7. So, welcome back to Speak on Stage. I'm Dave Crane, as always, sharing with you lots of tips and tools and techniques to become more successful in your branding, in your business, especially if you want to be a speaker. I've got my Industry Icon program, which is how I train people to be super effective. I thought I'd give you a snapshot of the questions that I ask, but I go through and really create the answers with people. And these are the things about going virtual. First question is, who are you? And you can ask yourself, whoever you are, whether you're a student, you're at home with the kids, you're a stay-at-home mom, or you're running a business from an office at a top level, but you want to reach people more effectively. Remember now, and you've seen it in politics, it's really about the personality of the person that people are voting for. Now, if they're not going to vote for you, they're going to hire your services. They need to be able to know that question. But it only matters once you've worked it out. Who am I? Who are you? Does your branding say you're that? If you've got loads of posts that people love that you put online, have nothing to do with you as a person, but have got loads to do with the fans that follow your stuff, but they'd never hire you, well, that's fine. But if you lose your job, nobody's going to be able to support you because they're not sure what you do for a living. And just like every life coach can tell you, you can't earn money making people happy. Why? Because they don't value it. They want it for free. And I'll argue that with any life coach, any business coach. Yes, but happiness is really important. Okay, I believe it's really important, but as a life coach, can you earn a ton of money if you're not on TV, if you're not top branded, and you're not already with an existing group of clients? How do you monetize it when you've got every single person who's a bit bored or a bit well-meaning deciding to become a life coach and spending their first 100 hours to get their certification working for free? Wow, that's aggressive. Good coffee. So work out your brand and your branding and who you are and who you want people to see you as. I've gone through the hedgehog in previous episodes. I won't do it in today's episode, but it's important. Number 2, who is your audience? What's their avatar? What do you mean avatar? What, that movie? Yes, a representation of who it is. Are you? Don't say to me, my audience is everybody who's interested in what I do. That doesn't cover anything. When you say everybody, are they male? Are they female? Are they children? Are they adults? Are they pensioners? Are they your age? What part of the world do they come from? What language do they speak? What industry are they in? Have they got kids? Have they not got kids? Are they spending all their money on just having fun, or are they saving it for a rainy day? Have they bought a house? Have they not bought a house? You need to know these things. At least have a ballpark figure, because the way that you speak has to be effective for them. Otherwise, if you just talk from the top of your head, you'll alienate everybody. Do you know why? Nobody cares who you are. Nobody gives a monkeys about who you think you are. They're only asking one question: what's in it for me? So you better work out who me is when you start channeling and preparing your content so you reach them with what they want. If you tell them what you want to say, they're not going to care. I don't talk about myself on this show very much. With the exception of seeing my daughter, and you've not seen my wife. You barely see my dogs, maybe on other videos. Why? Why don't you do that? Especially when storytelling is so important. Because you're not interested. You're interested in what's in it for you. I'll share with you my story and my stories when I realize or think that those stories are useful for you. Not because I want to say, look at me. Because why would anybody want to look at me apart from my beautiful face? Creepy? I'll move on. All right, number 3, what do they want? Question, what do they actually want from life? What do they want from you? But you might have a load of things you can offer, but for me, hypnotherapist, life coach, business coach, broadcaster, blah, 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 blah. People want to know how to speak. They want to know how to brand, and they want to know if I can speak for them and their team. Can you motivate my team? Great, that's it. I don't talk about anything else for that reason. Because I've already worked out what people want from me and what I can give to them. Number 4, where are they? Location, industry. That's again going down to the avatar. But once you've worked out what they are, then where do you find them? That's kind of important. What part of the world? You might decide to only deal with the people in your region, in which case it's easy to put Facebook and Google ads that really narrow it down. But if you've got the opportunity to go digital with your products and you've reinvented it to make it so it delivers stuff to a virtual audience anywhere, whether buying your services, buying something you've created, a video series, or supposing you're a mentor, supposing you're an accountant, supposing you're an office manager or a VA, supposing you're a project manager, supposing you're a coder. All these things could be anywhere in the world that you work with people, but you might find that the people in your region are the best ones to work with. But you might find you come from a region where they don't pay very well. But there's another region that needs your services that do pay much better. So you want those clients. So it's important to know who your clients are. I know as a speaker that the highest fees are always paid in the US. Now, if you're a virtual speaker, that's kind of challenging because you're not traveling to the US or traveling anywhere else. But you know that if it's a US company, then they will pay a higher fee than somebody who's going to employ you from the Philippines or from a subcontinent. So you have to understand the industry and the location and make sure that when you create your offers and do your branding and stuff, they are ready for whoever is going to be approaching you. Number 5, which platform will you choose? Will you do a TV show like me? Or will you go virtual like that episode I showed you earlier of me working on that platform? Or will you do like Tony Robbins, where he's got banks of huge LED screens and he's walking around doing his Tony thing in the middle of it? Or will you do Zoom calls? Will you do webinars? Will you decide to just go with some old technology? Will you do it on Skype? Will you pre-record and put it out there? I've done all these different things and they're all different with new skill sets, new things that you've got to learn. And when somebody approaches you and says, can you? The answer is yes. And you work out how afterwards. But right now, with a lot of those things, because they're relatively new and they're evolving all the time, and I will show you how to do Zoom effectively in a future day. With all these different platforms, you have to be a master of them, because then if you're not, and your clients are in front of you, or your audience is in front of you and they know more about it than you do, you will look stupid. You have to be a master of these platforms. I'm Dave, I'm too old, I don't like it. I don't care. That's why you got no gigs. Number 6, how will you get up to speed? Google first, mentor second. Get to somebody who's already doing it. This is why I teach an Industry Icon program. Get to somebody who can show you how to get there fast. If you've got a gig or the possibility of a gig, why do you want to go live without knowing what you're doing unless you've tested it and done it? One of my clients is a member of the United Nations. She and I did a coaching session where she was being interviewed by a top magazine in the US, and we went through everything from how she dressed to how she spoke, to the stories that she was going to say, to the setup that she had. So in fact, she wasn't going to be talking into a laptop, she was going to be talking into her phone on a selfie stick with the earpiece from her earbuds. I won't take them out, earbuds, you know what I'm talking about. If I take them out, it'll probably start activating, and then you won't hear me anymore. So we worked out so she could have the right background, the right everything to look perfect for this incredible interview. If we hadn't done that and gone through it, she would have had to wing it. And winging it is not what you want to do anymore. Remember, everything you do online is processed and it stays there. You might want it to disappear, but it can come dragging back to haunt you. And sometimes, especially in a virtual world, you get one go at doing this. And number 7 is, when are you going to start? How long are you going to keep messing about, waiting for the old world to come back, saying, oh yeah, but I'll wait for things to get normal again. Things are never going to be normal again. This is your lot. If you haven't worked it out, then it's tough. I love your thoughts. I love your comments. As always, it's a pleasure having you with me. This is Dave Crane on Speak on Stage. I answer everything. So if you've got any questions all about it, then let me know. Next up, we'll look at the Industry Icon program and also some more tips for you here on Speak on Stage. So welcome to Speak on Stage. As mentioned before, this is a way that I train people to be very effective as public speakers. I don't expect you to consider it immediately, but I think you should really consider it soon, because I can't think of a single industry where you being a well-known person in it is not going to make you more money. Every single person now across the planet is connected to every other person. Now, that means that the big boys are the big boys, and they will always be, but would you necessarily hire one of them? No, you'd probably go down a bit to somebody within your budget, or somebody who can understand you and be more like you and want to work with you. Now, the Industry Icon program is not about creating those mega superstars. You don't need to be. You don't need to be Ellen or Oprah Winfrey or a Kardashian or a Simon Sinek or a Gary Vaynerchuk to be effective. You need to be effective as you, in your industry, maybe even in your region. So people see you as a go-to person. And it's so easy. Before, it was all about the successes, all about the money, all about the people that talk all about you. You can now bypass all that by showing your expertise, by proving to people how effective you are, how good you are at doing what you do. And when you do that, they gravitate towards you and they want to be doing business with you. That's the key. We've never had an opportunity to do stuff like that before. So contact me for a short Zoom consultation. It will be complimentary, and we'll see how we can work forward to get you to a higher level. So with that, it's come to the end of the show. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know which day you want to have off, and then I will be able to just sit there and watch Netflix. Now, I'm always busy working on something. I've got loads of stuff to do over the weekend. And I love doing this show with you. It's just an utter joy. But the challenge is, in Dubai, it's Sunday to Thursday. In most Western countries, it's Monday to Friday. So that means Saturday is generally off in most places, but Sunday is the beginning of the work day where I live in Dubai. But it's a complete day off for people who are not in that religious calendar. So let me know the day that you would want me to take off, and let me know which days you enjoy. Let me know what you prefer, what you don't, and so on. This show is tailor-made for you, and if you don't do it, I'll just do it anyway. And you'll say to me, Dave, but we were ready for you. We loved all the stuff you were doing. Where did he go? Why did he disappear? And I'll go, nya, 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 nya. In fact, I won't do that. I'll do this. Nothing, because I won't be on. I'll be somewhere else. It's been a pleasure having you with me. Tomorrow we've got another new show with loads of stuff, but it will be definitely the weekend, because Saturday is the day when we let our hair down, and I do indeed have a lot of hair. In fact, tomorrow I may let my hair down completely and show you what I look like, which is like this. Yeah? No? Maybe. Right, I will see you tomorrow. Look after yourself. It's always a pleasure and never a chore. Gonna leave a music video. This is one of my favorites. I do these selfie videos every now and again, and I've got some really cool stuff lined up for you in the new season. Meanwhile, see you tomorrow. Take care. Speak on stage. Why are we here? Is there some massive reason, some huge pattern, some strategy, some solution, some formula that says all people are here to contribute? There's some amazing journey. The way we've been from the past, the road behind us, the road ahead, is all part of some amazing plan that nobody told us all about? Or maybe, just maybe, we're all an accident. Maybe there is no design. Maybe right now, just like the dinosaurs, just like everything that came before us and everything that's going to come after us, this is just our time. You're waiting for some divine reason to prove to you why it all makes such sense. Maybe it doesn't make sense. Maybe the chance to have a different religion is all based on the country you're born in, the TV you watched, the friends you had, the parents and how they grew up, and also the airline above you that sends people on their own trips and their own journeys. Maybe it's a quirk of fate that you are the color you are, and the people that share lives with you are just an accident as well. Maybe the pets that you have with you and the friends that you choose are all by accident, but the only one thing that you have is choice. What you do about it, how are you going to let it affect you, and what are you going to do next? Supposing all that was true, and there is no pattern, there is no end game, and one day you'll be dead, would you approach things differently? Would you enjoy everything better? And would you learn to tell people, sometimes just to kiss it, a lot faster, so you can get on with your life? I know where I sit on this. And my question to you is, where do you sit?